It's morphin' time! Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to my review of the Super Shodo Choujuu Sentai Liveman set. Now, for those unaware, because I've never covered it on the channel, Shodo Super or Super Shodo is the Super Sentai spinoff of the Shodo line that has covered many things in the Bandai candy toy world. But specifically, they do these team packs where you get the entire team in one box set. And for me, I usually don't buy them. This is my first time, because with the other Super Shodo sets, they were stuff that Power Rangers Lightning Collection may eventually cover, or they weren't part of my favorite teams of all time. And in the case of Choujuu Sentai Liveman, this is my absolute favorite Super Sentai show ever made, and I don't know if it'll ever be topped at this point, because nothing's gotten close yet. Liveman is definitely the top for me in all categories. So getting figures of those characters is going to be hard, because this was never adapted to Power Rangers, so I can't wait for Lightning Collection to do it. They'll never get to it. So I thought, all right, Super Shodo, let's do it. So this includes Red Falcon, Yellow Lion, Blue Dolphin, Green Sai, and Black Bison. So you've got all of them there looking fantastic. On the back here, you've got the Biomotion Buster, the Arsenal gear weapons, and you can see how many accessories are included in this tiny box. Yeah, these things are intense. Like most Shodo Super or Super Shodo images just look like this, because there is a ton of stuff inside. Now, in fact, because it is candy toys, there is stickers. It's probably got some assembly. I'm just curious what's inside the box. Okay, yeah, mostly painted. There's definitely going to be stickers, and there's weapons and stuff. It's going to take me a while to put together, but I'm really looking forward to it. There's the candy, nice little tablet candy. But this is pretty great because, yeah, Liveman is one of my favorite Sentais, and being a non-Power Rangers doesn't get toys that often. So let's crack into it and take a look at all 5 Liveman for the Shodo Super line. So of course we're starting with Red Falcon, the leader of the Liveman team. Now this guy looks pretty good. So this is my first time experiencing a Super Shodo figure in hand. I've seen pictures, but this is my first time actually owning one, because like I said in the intro, Liveman is my favorite Sentai. I've always loved the Liveman design since I first saw them. I think Gokaiger was my first exposure to the Liveman suits. And I love the design. I love the V shape that carries on to the back. It adds to, like, the overall Super Sentai V logo in general. Of course, the symbol, which is kind of, it's sort of got like a what is it, the Nazca lines sort of design to it, which I really like. And I love the helmet design. The intricacies of the beak and the eyes of the Falcon looking awesome. Now, in terms of actual details, they're pretty sparse otherwise, because this is just the way the suits were. A lot of the 80s Sentai had really detailed helmets, a little bit of detail on the chest, and the rest of the body's pretty standard stuff. Like he's got red gloves and boots, and then the rest of it's white. But what's really nice is that despite being a candy toy figure, where usually there's a lot of stickers, even if it is premium Bandai, the only stickers on these are the armbands, the leg bands, and the belt for the actual, not the centerpiece, but the actual belt part. So anything that's reflective, shiny silver, that was sticker. Everything else was painted, which is really nice to see. What's also really cool is you do have the Live Blaster holstered on the side here. And this is a separate piece from an unholstered one we'll look at in a minute. But you're probably wondering, is he well articulated? Well, I think so. Let's look at him. So he's got ball jointed head at the top and the base of the neck. So you can kind of get that kind of motion there. You got shoulders that move out, shoulders that pop off. They're ball jointed, so sometimes it happens. There's supposed to be a joint that moves forward and back, but it's really tight and it only moves a little bit, but I do have that range there. You got a bicep swivel, an elbow bend that goes to a nice 90, wrist pivot swivels. You've got a ball joint at the top part of the waist and the lower part of the waist, so you get kind of a nice crunch or a nice back. I did forget to mention there is a stand plug back here. If you have other stands, it doesn't include any. Hips that move out, they move forward, they move back, they drop down. I think it's just like the shoulder joints, really tight, but they do drop down a bit if you want that. Thigh swivel and a single joint knee, but it goes as far as the double joint it would. And then you have an ankle that pivots in and out, as well as up and down on a ball joint. So you get some pretty good range of motion in these guys, which I think is great. It's about on par with other candy toy figures I've owned. Now, speaking of that, let's get through the elephant in the room. How does he scale with other candy toy figures? All right, first things first, show, don't tell. He's not going to scale with SH Figure Arts. Way too small for that, so that's not happening. But let's look at some comparisons of some recent lines. Here's Sodo Chronicle Kamen Rider Oja. And here is Yudo Super 2 Kaiser. So you can see that originally when they announced Super Shodo, I thought it was going to be a line that was to put the old Sentai in line with the Yudo figures, but they're way smaller. Like, they're even smaller than the Shodo Chronicle, which Shodo Chronicle about the same size as Shodo. This is Yudo. Let's bring in, here's a Change Hero Series Zen Kaiser, which you can see, you know, again, too tall. But what's actually going to scale nicely is Shodo, which Shodo I think evolved to Shodo X. But here's Shadow Moon from the original Kamen Rider Shodo series. And you can see that height-wise, they are about the same. So they say Super Shodo, they're in scale with Shodo. Not so much the other Bandai candy lines like Yudo, which is the usual Sentai one, or Shodo Chronicle, which is a Kamen Rider one. So yeah, Bandai and their candy toy lines, they got too many of them, and they're all in different scales, but at least Shodo to Shodo works. Now for accessories, these guys come with a lot of hands, but they're shared. So for example, everybody comes with a set of fists. Everyone comes with a set of squared off holding hands for things like swords. They also come with hands with extended trigger fingers for gun weapons, a pair of open hands, a pair of flat palmed hands, and then a pair of flat palm hands angling up. So these are all the hands that come with everybody. But some of them come with unique hands. Like for example, Red Falcon has unique hands specifically for his roll call pose. And so that's his main roll call pose with the team shot. And what's pretty cool is that they are these specific hands with the 2 fingers extended, so it has the proper gesture for the pose, which is pretty awesome. But what else does he come with besides hands? So of course he comes with the Lie Blaster, and this is the blaster form, so it was holstered, but this is a separate piece from the holstered one. You just swap out the peg, which I think works pretty good. And then you actually have the Lie Blaster, which is sticker detail on all of them, but each of them has the specific symbol. Let's see if we can get to it. It'll be really tricky because how small it is. But you can see the actual Red Falcon symbol right in the middle, right under Lie Blaster. So pretty good. I think the barrel detail looks a little weird this way, but honestly, it works pretty good for the Lie Blaster since each of them have that unique symbol to theirs. You also do get the Lie Blaster in sword form, which seems redundant for Red Falcon, as we'll see in a minute with his other weapons. But once again, it does have that detail of the Falcon symbol. And it's nice because everybody comes with a Lie Blaster in blaster and sword form. So if you want your team to match on a shelf, they all come with the same accessories. So the first sword that Red Falcon comes with is the Falcon Sword. I love Liveman, I never said it had the most clever names. But honestly, it's pretty cool. This is the first sword he had in the series. It was destroyed in episode 23, which is, yeah, back in a time when Sentai characters could get personal weapons and get 2 of them in the show run. But it's a pretty basic sword with a nice, like, Falcon handle grip to it. And I just do like the design. But the other one's a little bit more exciting. And this, of course, is the Falcon Saber. Not to be confused with the Falcon Sword. Yeah, they do look very similar, but the Falcon Saber has a larger grip and a bigger guard piece on it. So it actually is different because it's used later in a weapon combination, and so you include this extra piece as well, which is simply the handle guard part without the blade, and that'll be used in a combination. But what's pretty nice is that we do have, of course, the Falcon Saber. This is the one I prefer. I mean, the Falcon Sword's nice, but it's a little more basic. I like the extra handle guard on the hand there. But honestly, I love the designs in Liveman, and Red Falcon is translated well into a Super Shodo. But let's look at his next teammate, because, well, he's not the only member of this team. All right, next up, my favorite Sentai Ranger of all time, Yellow Lion. Absolutely love this character, and he does have unique hands for his roll call pose, as you can see there. He's got kind of a lion claw sort of thing going on. Other than that, he's basically the same figure that Red Falcon was. Of course, everything is now yellow where it was red before. And of course, the helmet and the chest decal are new. Love the chest decal. I always thought it was kind of cool as this was multicolored. The rest of the team, it's all white, but they actually colored in the lion details, which is kind of fun. And then I love the helmets. It's probably the inspiration of helmets later that would have fangs on the visors. It just looks really, really cool. I don't know, there's something really nice and 80s about these designs that I really, really love. So yeah, Yellow Lion, pretty awesome. Everything else is the same articulation, pretty much all the details, same deal with the stickers. But let's look at his accessories. So of course, Yellow Lion comes with his Lie Blaster. Since the whole team has that weapon, they should all come with it, right? And he's got the little symbol on there, which is awesome. And of course, he does come with the sword form of the Lie Blaster, complete with the symbol. Just looking really, really cool. You get his first personal weapon, which is the Lion Punch. Again, the names aren't that unique or interesting, but it is a lion fist on his hand. It just swaps into one of the hand joints, which is pretty cool. And you get his Lion Bazooka, which looks awesome. I love the design of this thing. I love that it's got two handles, and I love that he's got the articulation and range to hold both handles. Next up, we have Blue Dolphin. As the one woman on the team, we do need to look at her a little more in detail because she does have some unique features to her. First of all, no unique hands for her, and that's because these hands just work for all of her poses. But looking at her here, same with the others. The stickers are just the belt, the armbands, and the leg bands. But hey, that makes the suits actually look shiny like they did in the show. Now, of course, being a woman, she does have a different build than the guys, and honestly, it works pretty good. She's got the same articulation range and the same articulation as her male counterparts, which is great. Love equality. And the other thing is that she does have the skirt. Now, of course, the skirt, Super Sentai staple. Let's get the gun out of the way here. The skirt does plug in to the front here, and it does, as you can see, remove. Of course, that looks really weird because it's not built like that. But the skirt actually, as I put the wrong one on, the skirt does this, I think, so that nothing breaks or flexes too much. But essentially, if you want her to pose with her legs splayed out, you totally can, because there is some maneuvering there, and you can see if you try to squeeze it, they'll pop the leg back in. But it does have a good range that she can actually do a splits pose, but just there is limits because there is a skirt. The only thing that would avoid this would be a incredibly flexible fabric skirt, which would not work on a figure this small, I think. But you can get her into some good poses like that. It's the forward and back that's not going to work as well, but because it's two pegged, one peg will hold it in place. But of course, she does come with her weapons. Let's take a look at them. She comes with her Lie Blaster, complete with the Dolphin symbol. And of course, she includes the sword form of the Lie Blaster. Now, the Dolphin arrow, of course, is her personal weapon, and it was mostly painted. The only detail that wasn't was the little Liveman symbol on the guard here, which is pretty cool. And that piece does come out, so it makes it easier to put the hand on. Really cool stuff. But the Dolphin arrow, which caused her to fall over, is the only weapon she has in the series because, well, as we're going to see, she didn't need to get a replacement to be part of the combination. So for a majority of the series, there was only 3 Livemen, and that's probably why they got secondary weapons for red and yellow. Because the initial weapons were cool, but the Dolphin arrow is of course the best, these two were definitely the cooler weapons for red and yellow, and all 3 of these weapons can combine into a team cannon. So making the triple bazooka is pretty easy. You just got to combine these 3 weapons. So you plug this little piece in here, which plugs into the front, like that, and then that clips the bow into place. And then you put the Falcon saber handle up here on top, and that's all there is to it. But hey, it's a neat little team cannon. I legitimately do love team cannons in Super Sentai. I like the idea of weapons coming together as a formation of the team coming together, but I have not seen a single company make it easy to display. There's always this problem of the cannon has to be held by somebody, and so they're really forward heavy, so you balance them out. And then you have to line up the other rangers so that they're slightly touching the cannon, but if you bump it too much, they'll all fall over. I'm just recounting the last 12 minutes of trying to set this up, so appreciate it while you can see it, but it does look pretty cool when you do get set up, though I don't know how stable this is in the future, because that happens. And since that triple bazooka is kind of hard to pose, I kind of tend to prefer to pose them all with the Lie Blaster. Now, like I mentioned, these weren't the only Livemen, but they were the Livemen for majority of the show, until later on in the 30s of the episodes, we got Black Bison and Green Sai. And yes, this was just an excuse to make sure I did this pose now, so I don't have to do it later. But let's look at the 2 new Liveman. So here we have Black Bison. Now this is one of the coolest looking suits. I always think Black Rangers look awesome. Just that contrast of the black to the white, and just the overall details. Love the helmet on this guy. Looking really, really cool. Now Black Bison and Green Sai both have these unique splayed open palm hands because of their team roll call pose, which is pretty awesome because that means they do have a unique set of hands to them as well. And overall, I think he just looks great. There's not much else to say because he's the standard male Liveman body, but he does come with some weapons. So of course he has the Lie Blaster with the Bison symbol on it, and of course the sword version of that same weapon with the Bison logo on it. He does come, of course, with the Bison Rod, his personal weapon. Lots of stickers, but still looks really nice. It's got kind of this double-bladed look to it. If I'm not mistaken, this didn't get a toy before in the roleplay line, because it came so late in the series. but I also don't think any figures come with this before this one, so that's pretty cool. So here we have Green Sai. Now, Sai means rhino, but I'm still going to call him Green Sai because I don't like translating names. It's a slippery slope. Anyways, really cool looking design. Once again, the green with the white. And I do like the helmet design with the rhino horn there. It's actually the double rhino horn, as it should be, which is pretty cool. And in general, rhino-based Rangers are very uncommon. But he looks pretty good head to toe, but of course he does come with some accessories. Now, of course, Green Sai does come with the Lie Blaster in blaster form with his symbol on it. And of course, the Lie Blaster in sword form with his symbol on it. And lastly, his primary personal weapon, which is the Sai Cutters. Now, these come in two different forms. You can either have them straight or bent, because they are boomerangs. Essentially, they start like this, he folds them, and they can become boomerangs. And you get the opposite set, so it matches. He also has unique hands that have pegs in the hands to go in the holes to hold these, because none of the other hands would do the job justice. So pretty cool. I do like the Sai Cutters as weapons. Boomerangs are very unusual, just like rhinos are very unusual. So I do really like his weapons overall, and I do like that you can match them. You're not stuck to one set over the other. You actually can have bent or straight ones for any pose you want. Now, Black Bison and Green Sai's weapons don't combine with anything, so there is a team cannon, which was introduced prior to those two, but all five of them use it together, the Biomotion Buster, which, if you've seen the show, you're probably already hearing the music in your head, because every time this showed up, it played the same piece of music. It was an 80s Sentai thing. This thing is covered in stickers. Anything that's not white is stickers on this, but hey, they actually got the readout display on the back, and all the details are there, which is pretty cool. And then, just like in the series, the actual barrel part of it moves in and out, which is really cool, because that's how it basically charges up to fire, and it is this huge, huge cannon. What's also nice is they're not expecting the figures to hold this. It includes a stand. So there are two different heights to the stand. This one's a little taller, and then you can also swap this out for one that is a little bit shorter, depending on what height you want it at. But this means posing a team shot should be a lot easier. That was a heck of a lot easier to set up. With the Biomotion Buster having its own stand, you can just kind of pose the figures around. Nobody's actually really touching it, and that's great. But from certain angles of photography, it's going to look fine. And honestly, that's probably how they cheated it in the show too. But it's honestly pretty amazing to have this giant cannon accessory with the whole team together. So overall, this Liveman Super Shodo set's pretty great. It does make me want more Super Shodo if I could fit into the budget. I did spend about $100 for this through middleman services, and that's, you know, kind of a chunk of change. But when it's broken down between the 5 figures, it makes them about $20 a pop, which I'm actually pretty happy with. Having all the accessories, having all the details, matching the team weapons together. Honestly, I'm pretty pleased with this. And, you know, the only problem I have is that they're so small. If they were bigger, this line would be perfect for me. But in terms of like getting my favorite Sentai team, this is the best action figure versions I think I can get for them, and I'm pretty pleased with these. What's also nice is that I already have the Super Mini Pla, Super Live Robo, so I just have a full display going on here. Now Bandai, where's the Memorial Changer, the Twin Brace? That's the piece that I'm missing from having a complete collection here. But honestly, these look pretty great with the Super Mini Pla. I actually do like the overall like look to them, and it makes a great display. I've been on a bit of a Sentai sabbatical for the last year where I haven't really watched any Sentai at all. But working on this video kind of re-sparked my, Sentai enthusiasm. And so I'm glad that Liveman still kind of gets me excited about stuff. I do love this series, and anytime Bandai puts out merch for it, I'm right there for it. So if I do end up reviewing more Liveman stuff in the future, if it exists, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And while you're down there, hit the like button if you haven't already. And leave a comment if you haven't. Tell me which is your favorite Super Sentai series. This is mine, absolutely 100%. Don't know if that's ever changing, but what is your favorite Super Sentai series? And on that note, be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Soundout12, where I post channel updates, video updates, sometimes small extra videos. Also, be sure to check me out live on Mondays here on this YouTube channel at 5 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about toys, tokusatsu, and all kinds of good stuff. Check out Hero Club at hero-club.com for tokusatsu interviews and more, and my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at darkclaw643. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.